last time we spoke, this flotilla was being assembled, and we've been picking off now, I think, 20 different boats, alleged drug trafficking boats coming out of Venezuela and others out of Colombia. Are we about to go to war in the Caribbean?
It sure feels like it. We have set the theater with a lot of firepower, and I think the president probably is going through a range of options, everything from, at the very top, air plus ground, heavy air, and then maybe something that's lighter with sort of regime targets and or drug facilities. So I think he's probably got a range of targets here. I don't think he's going to go on the ground, but then that raises the question of why do it? Because I don't think he's really going to achieve regime change by doing it, and there are not that many cartel targets.
That actually tracks exactly with what our analysts at Bloomberg Economics are tracking as well. They say that the U.S. would likely target government-operated air defenses at the beginning of a potential strike campaign to reduce any potential threat to American pilots operating in foreign airspace. What are some of those tactical challenges, part of that calculus that the administration has to make when it's thinking about how it could potentially strike a country like this?
Well, it reminds me of the Israeli action into Iran. The first thing they do is knock out enemy air defenses so that they can get air superiority all over the country to fly with complete impunity and go as long as they need to be able to go in order to hit all of the targets that they have. The issue here is that I don't think we've been staring at Venezuela like we do other countries and developing target sets for very long. This is a project that the intelligence community engages in. I really wonder how many targets we have to prosecute here and ultimately what happens. Of course, we all want to see Maduro go, but it's really hard to achieve those sort of aims by an air campaign alone.
Why Venezuela and not Colombia, if that's where the lion's share of cocaine is coming from in South America, or Mexico for that matter? Or should I ask a different question? Is this going to be a playbook for all of those?
Well, he's definitely had a lot of negative things to say about Colombia of late.
Sure has.
I think Venezuela is probably the easiest of the three because Maduro is such a rogue operator and he has deep relationships with all of our adversaries. The country is in absolute shambles. There's so many migration that's destabilized the region. And of course, many have come to the United States. So I think that's probably at the very, very top of what the president is worried about.
Energy comes into a lot of what this administration thinks about. Energy prices, the oil market. We know that there could be some pretty broad ranging consequences depending on how the U.S. depends to act towards Venezuela. How have we seen that issue, energy, actually provide leverage to either side as we're looking ahead to these potential consequences?
Well, I think the United States has proven, just like we did on Iran sanctions, that if we levy sanctions on Venezuela's oil sector, it is going to be impactful. It is going to continue to knock their oil capability offline. So I think we have them in a sanctions vice grip there, and I think people are very interested in, over time, having oil bring the Venezuelan economy back to sort of substantial levels, subsistence levels, but I think they believe they need to get past the Maduro regime before they're able to do that.
Talk to us about this platform that is the carrier strike group that just arrived, because this is massive firepower, Michael. This is the biggest aircraft carrier in the world, and it brings with it an entire flotilla, of course, all the fighter jets, the personnel. You've got 5,000 sailors that just steamed into the Caribbean here. It seems like we could have done this with a lot of cruise missiles, drone technology, assets we already have in theater, maybe a submarine. Why do we need all of this hardware?
So one thing they may be thinking of and discussing among their options is, how do I compel, how do I intimidate Maduro into, and maybe there's an intermediary that's going to go there at some point and say, here's what we need out of you. We need you to step down. We'll make sure that you have protection in some other third-party location, and otherwise intimidate him and compel him to leave. And so that may be what we're doing here, which is using military force to back up our diplomacy.
So that's U.S. military force. Are we working at all with our allies on this? How does an operation like this, work when it could be such a significant escalation? What do those talks look like behind the scenes, those back channel talks?
Yeah, I think that we're probably talking to a lot of people in the region, but we don't have anybody, I think, that's going to pair up with us to prosecute this particular set of targets. There aren't a lot of military capabilities down there in the Western Hemisphere. We've read about certain of our intelligence cooperation partners not sharing intelligence with us because they don't want us to go after and blow up any more drug boats if it's unclear of their origin. So I think we're a little bit on our own here, but we have the firepower, and they really don't have any military to fight back to speak of.
You mentioned Israel and Iran, which is something we talked about a lot around the time of those strikes with you. There is reporting that Iran is very quietly rebuilding its nuclear capability. What are you hearing?
I think they are. I think it's inevitable. I think it's in the DNA of this particular regime. The big question, the big intelligence question after the strike is, where is the LEU? Was it destroyed in the strike? Was it buried? Was it diverted? Or are they digging it out? And I think that is of grave concern to the Israelis. It is us as well. I still think it was a success that we were able to knock out a lot of these different locations, but we're really wondering where this HEU is, and what if they're
highly enriched
uranium, and what if there are other sites that we were not aware of that'll either be centrifuge halls, or maybe they were even storage of centrifuges that they would bring online one day. So there's a lot of intelligence work that's got to be done, and I have no doubt the Israelis and the United States are all over it.
Yeah, what do those efforts look like to actually try to determine this? At this point, it's been months. Yeah. How much longer does it take to uncover something like this?
Well, we could get some assistance from the IAEA. We, the United States, have sort of unmatched capability from space, and the Israelis, of course, send actual agents into Iran, and they demonstrated that throughout Operation Midnight Hammer, and I don't doubt that they've activated all the networks they have of opposition groups and ethnic groups who are not friendly to the Iranian regime, and they're checking things out inside the country. So I think because it's such an acute national security issue for the Israelis in particular, that they're going to be the leader on trying to figure out what new capability the Iranians might have.
It's a good time to be a missile maker.
Yeah.
We've heard so much from our own analysis here at Bloomberg Intelligence from Colonel Wayne Sanders that there is about to be a buying frenzy, a massive block of orders coming in from the Pentagon to replace interceptors that we have given to the likes of Israel and Ukraine now for several years, and our own offensive capabilities that need to be maintained. What's coming for the likes of Lockheed, RTX, General Dynamics, and the rest?
I think things are looking up. I mean, if there was one thing that we realized swiftly at the beginning of the Ukraine campaign was that we were dangerously low on all sorts of munitions.
Have we made the changes in the manufacturing chain that are required?
We have begun to. There are a number of facilities around the country that have double-timed and triple-timed. I know this is a big focus for the Trump administration. The Deputy Secretary in particular has an initiative to up the spending quickly on different types of munitions, but we need it for the China fight. We need it to transfer to Taiwan so that we can deter China from invading. We need to be able to send some to the Ukrainians. And as you mentioned, we still have big interests in the Middle East. We still want the Israelis to have a lot of capability as well. So I can't think of many topics other than maybe shipbuilding and the rest that are going to get at Golden Dome that'll get as much attention and funding in the short to medium term.